You're making three, four, maybe even $500,000 a year or more, and you still feel like you're really not getting anywhere. Well, I've been reading this book called The Wealth Ladder by Nick Magiuli, and it really calls out something that most high income earners we never realize. There's a hidden wealth trap that keeps us stuck between the $1 million to $10 million net worth. And here's the kicker: that very strategy that gets you there, not going to get you past it. And in this video, I'm going to discuss how we get there, the problem keeping us trapped, and steps that you can take to move up the next rung on the wealth ladder. So first, let's talk about the problem. And the problem is the hidden wealth trap. Here's what usually happens with high income earners, whether you're a doctor, you're a dentist, lawyer, business professional, whatever. You spend years and years, more than likely, building your career. Next, you start making good money. You start making 300K, maybe 400K, 500K or more a year. Then what happens? You kind of get comfortable. You start to buy. Of course, you got to have a nice house, right? You're making that kind of money. Then what do? What do all the financial quote pundits tell us to do? You've got to max out your 401k. You have to do that, right? Then maybe you start to dabble around and you start to invest in stocks. This may sound familiar. And that's enough to what will push you into what the author calls the $1 million to $10 million net worth, which is actually level 4, 1 through 6. Okay. Level 1 being you have $10,000 or less. And then level 6 is you have $100 million or more in net worth. Okay. So what he talks about here, this problem, this trap, it keeps us in that $1 to $10 million net worth range. But being in this range, $1 to $10 million, I mean that's great. I mean that's amazing. I mean you're in the top, less than top 1% of the people. But here's the truth: most people, when they get there, they get stuck. In fact, according to the book, the majority of the people that are in this range, and even those who make it into the 10 million plus level, they stall out because they keep doing the same thing that got them there in the first place. What were they doing? They were doing this. They were trading time for money. And then when they get their money, they just turn around and they just invest it. So this trading time for money with a good income and then living on less than you make, and then taking that difference and investing it in your 401k, stocks, that sort of thing. It's great. And it's gonna get you here, but it's not gonna take you to the next level. Let me explain what happens next. All right, so let's discuss now why high income alone isn't going to be enough. Let me break this down with an example. Let's say that you're a dentist making, let's say $400,000 a year. You've been disciplined, you've been saving all along, you've paid off those student loans, just like Dave Ramsey told you. Maybe you've got like $2 million practice, you got a nice home, you've built up a $3 to $4 million net worth. That's solid. Okay, that is solid. But here's the problem. If you save another 100, maybe $200,000 a year, it really just, it barely moves the needle on your overall wealth. At 3 to 5 million, saving an extra 100 grand or 200 grand, it's just like putting a little drop in the bucket. This is why the author calls it the actual wealth trap. What got you here, a high salary, a retirement savings, it's not going to push you into that next level of wealth. You're all you're doing once you get to the 3, 4, $5 million level, you start to think, okay, I just got to keep working harder, working longer hours. I got to make that production. I have to increase my salary. But what happens to the growth, your wealth growth? It slows down, right? So here's the thing. You have to focus on this. You have to shift. You have to shift to this. IPA. Income producing assets. So this is what the few people that do break through, that they do differently. They shift their focus. Instead of just relying on their income, trading time for money and saving that money, they focus on acquiring income producing assets. The author points out in the book, The Wealth Ladder, that as people climb these wealth levels, 1, 2, 3, 4 is where we're at now. If they want to go from 4 to 5, they start investing and they start buying things that produce cash flow. And these are the 4 things that he talked about. It doesn't have to be just these 4 things. This is what he talks about in the book. I talk about a lot: real estate investments. I love mobile home parks and RV parks. You can do single family homes, you can do apartments, self-storage, whatever. Number 2, private businesses. You can buy those. You can just go out and you can buy or acquire passive income streams. Okay. And the goal is assets that are going to grow, whether you are working or not. It doesn't really matter. So for instance, if you're a dentist, your first wealth engine, or if you're a doctor, your first wealth engine is what? It's your practice. You want to focus on growing that practice. That is the key. That is your active, your earned income. That is the fuel to keep you growing. Here's the key though. Eventually you're going to want to move from working in your practice, or if you're an attorney or you're a high income earner, working in your business, to owning the business or owning the practice as an asset. Better yet, building multiple practices or multiple businesses. And then you can go out and potentially have private equity, or if you're a dentist, you can partner with a DSO to sell at what? That's what you can do as a business owner, as a practice owner. You can grow your business or practice. You can expand to multiple locations, then have somebody buy you out. And then boom, you went from level 4 to level 5. Or you can do what I've done again every year. Every year I've made it a point, at minimum, focus on acquiring some sort of, remember we talked about income producing asset every year at a minimum. Think about this. Let's say you're 30 years old. Let's say from 30 to 50, if you do what everybody else does, so from 30 to 50, every year you're probably going to be maxing out your 401k. Nothing wrong with that. But you still got another, 10 years before you can touch that. Instead, if you can still max out your 401k, but you can also every year at a minimum purchase an income producing asset. I like RV parks and mobile home parks from 30 to 50. What happens then? So the first example, you're at 50 and all you have is a 401k. You got to keep working. Why? Because you can't touch that money. Or example 2, you have maxed out 401k each year, but now you've got 20 or more income producing assets. What does that allow you to do? It allows you to be flexible. You want to keep working, you want to work part-time, you want to retire early, you want to do something else, whatever. It gives you options. I want you to get to the point that your work is optional. Now, these income producing assets, not only are they creating cash flow, but they're also growing in value over time, right? Because what does real estate do? Whenever you buy businesses, what do they typically do? They go up or they appreciate in value. So let me give you an example, a tale of 2 dentists, and we'll be able to look at kind of the typical dentist, number 1, and then the one that moves up the wealth ladder, number 2. All right, so here's the tale of 2 dentists, and we actually just went over this a little bit, but hopefully this visualization will actually drive it home for you. All right, so we have dentist 1. He's making $500,000 a year. He's disciplined. He's maxing out his 401k. He buys $1 million home. After a decade or 2, he's sitting on around $4 to $5 million net worth. Sounds great, but here's the reality. Most of that money, and if you're at this level, more than likely, most of your money is what? It's tied up in 2 things that you can't touch. Number 1, your home. The only way you can get money out of your home if you sell it, or if you rent it out. You probably don't want to rent it out if you're living in it. And then number 2, your 401k. So most of the money is tied up there. So what does this mean? That means he's still having to grind it out 4 to 5 days a week, and his wealth isn't generating any income for him now. Sound familiar? Now remember, dentist 2, he's still making that same $500,000 a year. He still lives comfortably, but again, each year he's taking a portion of his income, and what is he doing? He's investing it in IPA, income producing assets, like mobile home park, maybe apartment buildings, maybe self-storage. Maybe he goes out and finds a mom and pop that wants to sell their plumbing business or an HVAC business or whatever. There's all kinds of businesses like that around there. After 10 years, not only does he have a solid net worth, but he's also built up what? Multiple cash flow streams that actually can now replace a big portion of his practice income. He can work because he wants to, not because he has to. It's a great feeling. That's a feeling that I experience every day. I'm not just telling you about this, I'm living it. I'm trying to get you to think about money differently and think about how you make money. It's not how much you make, it's how you make it. That's the difference between being stuck in the wealth trap and breaking free from it. Look, the bottom line is this. A high income, it's a great start. I really don't know how. I'm sure there's a way, but it's really, really hard to build a lot of wealth unless you have some sort of starting place like a high income. More than likely you have a high income because you're watching this video. High income, it's a great start, but it's not the finish line. If you don't shift from earning and saving to owning and leveraging income producing assets, you're going to stay stuck in the wealth trap. So ask yourself, do you want to keep trading time for money, or do you want to build true financial freedom, work optional status? All right. And if you're ready to start building those types of passive income streams, the ones that have actually helped me step back from full-time dentistry and now work optional status, you can take a look at what I've done. My favorite investment, real estate syndications, mobile home parks, and RV parks. If you want to learn more, watch this next video.